more amped for this season's April 6th debut, Game of Thrones has taken over the new cover of Vanity Fair. And before we hear what show producer David Benioff has to say about the excessive sex and female nudity on the show, let's zoom in on the mag cover. The talented actors posed fully in costume for the special collector's edition. In fact, they were actually shot by Annie Leibovitz. Emilia Clarke and Kit Harington truly exude all things Daenerys and Jon Snow, and Peter Dinklage definitely seems to be taking on his on-camera persona as well, especially since we know this season 4 is going to be non-stop trouble for Tyrion. Lena Headley as Cersei is having a rather happy day, and Nikoli Coster-Waldau looks the most like his handsome self, except, oh, look at that hand, definitely belongs to Jamie Lannister. And now to the details of the article. Benioff told the magazine that he turned to his actress wife, Amanda Peet, for advice on the sometimes argued excessive female nudity. Quote, "I just asked her. She says, what matters is whether there are great roles for women of all ages and types, and whether the women in the story actually propel the plot. If they take their clothes off while they do that, so be it." And then the producer goes on to joke that he's not sure if he should be asking her, since she is showing her breasts the next day on HBO. Moving on, we know from him and from fellow producer DB Weiss that Game of Thrones will wrap up at about 7 or 8 seasons, with Weiss thoughtfully saying, quote, "I think the desire to milk more out of it is what would eventually kill it if we gave in to that." And Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin notes in Vanity Fair how he gives show producers broad strokes of what he intends to write, but the details aren't there yet, adding that he's hopeful they cannot catch up with him. He also said that it's a serious concern having child actors on the show because time passes very slowly in the books. However, the actors are growing up very quickly in real life. Speaking of real life, it was interesting to read in the article that President Obama receives Game of Thrones screeners before the episodes even premiere. As a reminder, just because you haven't read all of the books does not mean you are not a fan of the show. You're arguably a bigger fan if you put in the time to read the series, but more TV fans means more coverage and hopefully bigger budgets and a better show. Just saying, we can all be fans. All right, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to click right over here if you want to check out our new episode of Totally Clevver. I'm Dana Ward. Thanks for checking out the show.